I did. Everyone is leaving Go for Zig. The most disastrous app launch ever. T3 chat AI app is stupidly fast. Stupidly fast. Live now. Live now. Get inside of me. Yo, what's up, Jolt HD7? What app is that? Explode? No, it's the one by Sono. We could look at Explode too. Explode app is good. Let's post this. Should we add let's do this. Let's make it so obnoxious. Let's put like little like red. Yeah, that looks terrible. That looks so bad. We're gonna send it though. No, I have an idea. An app that killed a CEO's career. Which one? Oh yeah, Sonos. Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. All right. Let's go like that. Let's post it. We gotta get the. Today I'm not leaking passwords today, guys. So. You know, no promise and access keys though. Yeah, trust me, Zaddy. Okay, let's go like that. Let the Discord know that we're live. Cool. And now it's just us. It's just the boys. It's just the boys. Featuring YouTube chat. Featuring YouTube chat. Featuring YouTube chat. All right. How we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the stream. We're gonna have a good time. Sup, my boy? I'm starting a new job on Monday. Hey, as a system analyst, dude, love it. You're gonna be analyzing some systems. Love that for you, man. Current position is data analyst at the hospital, but the new gig is going to give me more experience with cloud architecture. Oh, let's go. 3 ads? 3 ads? Yo, Twitch, chill. I have literally done everything. Yeah, yo, what's up, Elena? Of course I look there. YouTube chat all day, every day. What's up, Yuri? I got the system down. I got the system down where I can look at YouTube chat and Twitch chat. Don't even worry. Yeah, 3 ads in a row is criminal. That's just criminal behavior. But yo, Grepix, that's awesome to hear. Yo, let me ask you, did PhD Labs help you at all? Did PhD Labs help you at all in preparing for your interview? YT Premium go brrr, 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 brrr. Yo, thank you for your help, by the way, Lena, for the TTS and all that stuff and like the chat stuff. I still want to build that, but I'm just a little busy. Go for life. Fuck Zig. Fuck the Zigglers. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think there's a huge, update on a lot of things happening in the world right now. Sean, what's up, bro? Thank you for the sub. Let's go, man. A T1. Jeez. 2-month streak and you forgot to cancel. That's on you. That's on you. That's on you, bro. I'll take that delicious cal.com money. That's me eating your cal.com money. I'm just like yo, what's up, Muzz GG? How's it going, man? Have you seen the new Raycast update? No, there's a new Raycast update. Nani kore? Link right now, or you're a bitch. Subaru Forester ad, bro. That's so Seattle. A Subaru Forester ad. Goddamn. By the way, how's the music? Is it too loud? Are we bopping right now? I'm just joking. I have my money. I'm just joking. Not really. Not for this job, but my next job, hopefully as a backend dev, I'll be able to drop some future labbage. Dude, let me tell you something. Yo, Jeets, thank you for the follow. If you're not following, I need to escort you out of this building. If you're not gonna follow me, this ain't the place for you, fam. Yo, let me tell you, dude, Grepix, I bet you for cloud architecture, you might use some Go. My desktop audio is off. For real? Watch this video, really well made. Let's check it out. Ooh, okay. I'm down to watch this. Let's pick up the is my desktop audio actually off? Can someone tell me? Someone so Ileana on YouTube is saying that my desktop audio is off. Is that true? Or how are we looking on chat? How are we looking? What's up, Bumpy? If my current things pan out. Oh yeah, so this is the current interview process going through after you scale up on PFG real quick. All right, good. Yo, what's up, Fix Sass? Don't know desktop audio. Okay, it looks like we're good. I think we're okay. Maybe. Oh, you can't hear. YouTube can't hear music. Yeah, that's by intention. YouTube can't. We can't record music on YouTube because YouTube algorithm for like Renee, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. Dropping that milky chat. YouTube audio, you cannot play music. All right. You gotta play some audio for that, buddy. I hear faint music. For what? For this video? Yeah, so YouTube will ban my ass so quick if I play music on it. So like I can't, unfortunately. But without further ado, let's actually go with what the plan is for this stream. And then we will kind of talk about everything I want to talk about. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. And if not, you can watch someone else. What day is it? Jan 83rd. So let's start off with the Raycast video. Raycast because it's quick. Raycast video, new update, looks sexy. I don't even know. I'm just talking ass. The next thing is so the creator of Hosty, all right, does not want to write Go anymore after Zig. I think it's a common pattern, which I'll talk about. Additionally, the most disastrous app launch of all time. You guys probably have seen this, the Sonos video. We'll go with that. Yo, thank you for that follow. Ankit Develops. Appreciate it. Welcome in, dude. Grab a seat. And then there's also the great video by Tej DeVries on the AI risks no one is talking about. What else did I spew here? Oh yeah, and the Explode app, if we have time. And then new app that took everyone by storm, Explode. So that's gonna be the idea, the goal for today. So are you going to leave Go for Zig? I don't know if I'm gonna leave Go for Zig, right? I think I have a plan for this Saturday. Okay, so this Saturday I have a plan that I want to kind of talk to you guys about. Obviously, I write Go. I think I made a lot of videos on Go. But here's like where my interest has been peaking lately. It's like I have been interested in other programming languages this year. And there's 4 that come to mind. Hold on, let me just adjust something real quick. Right there. There are dark times, there's no denying. For YouTube, yeah. So the things I've been kind of thinking about for other programming languages that I want to do live on stream is Zig or Rust or Odin. iDebug, Odin, or even Swift. So these are like the 4 languages that I've been thinking of quite a lot. Yo, what's up, Sam? Welcome in, dude. Did I spell Ghosty wrong? Ghost, where did I spell it wrong? Ghost TTY? GHOS. Oh, okay, you spelled it right. Yeah. I forgot about Apache and Nginx. Wait, both of these are written in C though. I'm learning some Go. At the most, Zig doesn't look interesting to me. Oh, dude, you can learn Go in like no time at all. I think Go is super, super fast to learn. Like literally, it's gonna be cakewalk for you. Okay, so that's kind of the cracked schedule. Let's go ahead and just start it off and look and pause the music for a second because let's go ahead and do the Raycast. I have to switch my audio channel so YouTube can hear. See, YouTube chat, I care about you guys. Okay, can you guys hear this? W in chat if you can hear this. Can you guys hear that? W, yes? Okay, cool. All right, so let's do this. So Raycast update. Let's see what they got here, folks. Okay, we got like a student, like a lady has just open text editor, untitled with nothing written. Okay, been there. It's 9 o'clock. She doesn't know what to type. Start. Oh. Bruno Hampton. Hey, did you get a chance to finish a copy of the landing page? Okay, so she's like grinding now. She got coffee. Writer's block. FaceTime audio call from Sarah. Lots of happening right now. We've all been there. Oh, jeez, dude. This is kind of weird. A typewriter? Raycast.com/focus. Okay, that was so Apple-like, I don't even know what to say. Like, genuinely, that was very Apple-like. I feel like Go, you can learn 100% in a few days. The channels, the Go routines, interface take a week or so. I wouldn't even say that. Interfaces, yes. Yo, what's up, Nix? Good to see you. Yo, what's up, Christian? Dude, good to see you. Been a fat minute, dude. How's it going, bro? It doesn't show what the feature is, but lol cinema. Yeah, like, I don't know what this is. It looks, so set your goal, choose a duration, blog to check apps and websites. So here you go, Raycast focused. Oh, there's a better video.
Raycast Focus, a new feature in Raycast that
You guys
allows
can
you
hear
to
this,
block
right?
distracting apps and websites so you can get started on a task and stay in the flow. Now, let me be honest with you. I didn't think I needed this. Whenever I had to work on something, I always thought,
If you guys don't know, this is like the CEO of Raycast. I've talked to Pedro, I believe his name was Pedro Duarte. Excuse me if I'm not saying his name correctly. But yo, what's up, Andres? What's going on, homie? Good to see everyone. But let's kind of look at this video. You know, the one that we just saw seems very like Apple, like cinema, get people interested. But for me, I don't really get baited by this kind of crap. I say crap loosely. I don't get baited by these kind of like ads or commercials. Personally, I like to see like what's actually behind the scenes. So let's kind of check
I
this
had
out.
enough willpower to just go ahead and do what I needed to do. And also, I've been using Raycast to help me with that for years.
By the way, can you guys hear? Is the music still good for YouTube and for Twitch? Should we learn a little program? Yeah, I think you should. I that's what I am suggesting. Is I think low level programming is something that I'm pretty much interested. Yo, what's up, Sunreal? Good to see you. Good to see everyone. Hey, everyone's back. All the OGs.
The way that Raycast has helped me focus is by reducing context switching in more ways that you can imagine. There's of course app switching that I can do with hotkeys and not have to search for them and lose momentum. There are extensions like GitHub and Linear that make me not even have to open these apps to create issues. If I'm using web apps, there are quick links that take me directly to them, so I don't get distracted by social media or everything else that's in my browser.
Look at that. Reaction Theo. Theo's video made it into the Raycast official feature announcement. That's crazy.
Clipboard history, window management, AI, notes. Everything that I talk about in basically every single video in this channel has had its own contribution to helping me and you stay in
I really like his
and it's
setup.
always been this way. So I was hesitant to try this new feature that I'm about to show you. I thought that everything I was using Raycast for was already more than enough to reduce distractions, but boy was I wrong. So I want to tell you why and
thank you for
how
that
you
follow,
can
Sam.
incorporate this into your workflow alongside all of the features and commands that Raycast already gives you. Like I said before, when you start a Raycast focus session, you get to block distracting apps and websites for a certain period of time. It's very easy, it's very quick, and you're gonna love it. And the first time I used it, it changed everything. Let me tell you what happened. So here at Raycast, I do a lot of different types of tasks. I might be planning the next meetup, or writing our newsletter, or making a video. And different types of tasks require different amount of focus. There are tasks that I can do without getting
use the
distracted
control
at all,
extension to control the
like
USB with
tweeting a
the
sneak
keyboard?
peek for Raycast
I'm
for
alright.
Windows.
I don't really
But then
need that.
there are
I can
tasks
just use
that I
this,
find
dude.
it so hard
I
to
don't need
stay
my keyboard
focused,
to
and I'm
do
getting
everything for
distracted
me,
by
you
everything,
know?
like when I'm reading and rehearsing a script for a video like this. So a few weeks ago, I decided to put my ego aside and finally try this feature out. So I started a new focus session.
Yo, what's up,
set
Danny?
For
Good to
30
see you,
minutes
bro.
And blocked my main sources of distractions like Slack, calendar, browser, email, stuff like that. Then I started reading the script, and within a few minutes, I noticed that I tried to open Slack for no reason whatsoever. It's just unintentional. But what happened was that it got blocked, and I
Okay, so with this feature, for me personally, I get more distracted with like Twitter. So a lot of the times, I don't know if you guys feel this way too. I'd be on Twitter, right? I'd be like, oh, okay, I've been doom scrolling, wasting my time. Like I exit Twitter, right? Do what I'm doing. And like, then I'll just like almost naturally open up a new tab, go back to Twitter. You know what I mean? It's like very instant. I don't really see the issue with like Slack and other stuff, but for me, I don't know. I don't think I'll be using this Raycast feature. I think maybe it has some good opportunities for other people, but not for me. Like, if I really need to get into the zone and use like a lo-fi Pomodoro thing, I use this. I use Astro Station, not me. It's like obviously not near as polished as Raycast Focus from what I can tell, but hey, it's probably gonna be good enough for what I needed to do. So I'm not gonna be too pressed on it, right? If you need an app to block other apps to not get distracted, something is wrong. I do think so, right? Can you imagine getting distracted by Slack? Yeah, that's what I mean. I would never get distracted by like Slack. You know what? Like, why would I open Slack? Maybe because I'm not a CEO or CTO, but I avoid Slack. Do you know how hard it is to get a hold of me on Slack? I have that shit super muted. I don't know how I did it. Did I see TJDV risk in your to-do list? Yes, you did actually. It's right here. Boom. Right there. Yo, Shaw's, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that. Theo, what's going on? I heard you were checking out the world's fastest chat app, ChatGPT. Yeah. I definitely want to check out the T3 app that you guys made. I thought it was pretty interesting. I do think from like the thing that impressed me the most about your app, Theo, was, and I'll get into that, it's like the ingenuity behind it, right? I think I'm interested to see how you built it. I know you're using lots of like local state storage for some of the things, right? I think you guys are using Jotai. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys are using Jotai, which I think the same creator, or they might be different creators who made Zustend. I might be wrong, but I think it's the same one. Jotai, yes, but it's not the interesting bit. I'm sure there's lots of interesting bits. But yeah, so yeah, these guys both made, it's funny, they made Zustend and Jotai, which is like, why would you make two? What's the difference between them? Primitive flexible state management for React, and this is like a small and flexible bare bones state management solution for, yeah, okay, maybe as, I don't know. This readme is written for JavaScript users. If you're using TypeScript, be sure to check out the TypeScript user section. Interesting. Dex is way more interesting. Jotai creator is the Zustend maintainer, is a collective. Oh, okay, I see. I gotcha. The Jotai dude is so cracked. I definitely agree. Yeah, did you know you made it into Pedro Duarte's video? I looked at Zustend yesterday. Zustend's what I use for astrostation.me, like almost fully. That's how we use like a lot of this local state. That's how you can log in and use it. And same with ResidueAI.io. Like you can just go in and use it. And we use a lot of like local state management through Zustend to kind of do this. So he's in uni as well. The guy's in university. Jeez, that makes me feel like shit. Which is crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's just, don't worry about that. This is an OG T3 app. You can still see that we have the icon. I'm not going to remove that because I don't really want to. Because I don't think that era of creating apps is gone when it comes to T3. But yeah. New music? Okay, cool. Anyways, so next up, I want to talk about, so we did the Raycast, like whatever, like I personally, like I said, I really like Raycast. Like I use it all, ever since I've been introduced to it. I'm like, this is pretty fire, right? It's pretty fire. I love the shortcuts. I love how, like I use all my window tiling with it. People used to give me so much shit. What were the other like window management tools on Mac? Oh man, what were they called? I got rid of them from my brain. What are some popular like window management tools? Can you guys tell me? Yabai, Rectangle. Yeah, thank you. So here, when I got my Mac Studio, I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm gonna rice out my thing to be like what I want to do. Yabai and Rectangle, the ones I use, and I also did another one. What was it? Yabai. Are you the guy who used to stream? Yeah, dude. What's up? Going on? I'd never used i3. It is my first stream. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yo, Kyle, thank you for T1 gifting it to Theo. Appreciate that. Yeah, so I used Rectangle and Yabai, and there was one more, like a new one, and I said like I don't really like this one. People like almost ate me alive. What was it? It was made by like I think Nikita. Let me YouTube. What was the dude's name? Oh, Aerospace. Thank you, Aerospace. Yeah. So okay, what? Aerospace window management. Yeah, this one. So I used all three of these. I used Aerospace, I used Yabai, and I used Rectangle. And like really, they didn't really hit the same way. Like I was using them, it was cool, but it wasn't hitting what I wanted. There were just too many bugs and too many issues. They're all like, yo, use them if you want. But then when I discovered Raycast, I was like, bro, I don't really need anything else. Like Raycast is so goated. It's crazy. Like this thing, it's like the one-stop app. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it's so goated. You go here, you go to window management, and you're done, dude. You're done. Do I use Raycast Pro? No, not even. That's the thing. I don't even use Raycast Pro. Like, can you even believe that? I don't even use Raycast Pro. I use Raycast Free Peasant tier. I use Broke Boy Raycast. And I'm like, it's probably one of the best downloaded apps I have on my Mac. I use Broke Boy Raycast. And I'm like, I could not be happier. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. For me, it's like very nice. And I definitely enjoy it. So, where I was going with that. Wait, hold on. Where is... Yeah, here you go. Can you do all the i3 stuff with keyboards like with Yabai? Yeah, dude. You can do it with try Raycast, honestly. Try Raycast. People will download Raycast just to get Spotlight replacement. So do that. Regardless of if it's going to replace your window tiling, whatever racing that you want, get Raycast just to like replace the Spotlight feature, and then look at the extensions for window management. The majority of the time, you guys will need just what's here. You guys need to bounce between different monitors. You guys will need to like separate the screens, move it between screens. That's all I needed, and it works. And that's it. And that's it. And I'm like, yo, so goat. You should try SteelSeries Sonar for sound management. Is my sound management shit? None of the tiling window managers work great on macOS, and it's definitely Apple's fault. Try Raycast. I'm telling you, try Raycast, bro. Let me type it out. Try Raycast. Like, try Raycast window tiling system. Open Clipboard saved my life. Yeah, I mean, and there's also a bunch of other stuff that I did not expect to use in Raycast. That's not auto tiling, though. Auto tiling? I don't know. I just sent a clip of this to the team. Yeah, good. Thank you, dude. I've talked to Pedro. I would love to work deeper with them. You know, I'm definitely a fan of their work. And I've exchanged some. First was my Raycast video exploding, so it might be worth doing one of your own. I actually might do a Raycast. Your Raycast video goes in depth. I think what I want to do is go to Raycast just on the window tiling. I think that'd be a really good video. I think that'd be very, very nice. Like the best Mac tiling system. I don't know. It would be kind of cool. Anyways, that's enough of Raycast. Big kudos to them. I want to talk about this. The creator of Ghosty does not want to write Go anymore after Zig. Okay. This is a really good kind of topic to cover, I think, especially nowadays. So I'm going to open up Ghosty and also Bun. The reason I like... Okay, I'm not going to say I like. There's two very prominent trends that I see happening in tech, right? And the majority of the time is that it's a focus on optimization and speed. And so when you look at Bun, if we kind of ignore a lot of the newer things they're adding into Bun, like the built-in, you know, S3 implementation or API and the built-in other features, at the core of it, Bun is like an extremely fast, like, bundler or runtime, right? Like at its core, it's the Bun runtime, and it's extremely fast, extremely snappy, and it's just super quick. Ghosty is a terminal emulator that does the exact same thing. It's super quick, super fast, super snappy. The thing is, I don't use Ghosty, I use Westerm, and that's just a personal preference. It's not to do anything like that, I might switch, but I use Western as of right now. Okay. And both of these optimize on just how quick and snappy their tooling is. And when you kind of look, and not only are they both open source, when you look at how they're developed, one thing sticks out in Zig. All right. The majority of the code base for both of these is built in Zig. 64.4% of the Bun code base is built in Zig, and 82.8% of the code base for Ghosty is built in Zig, where the next majority is Swift, right? And I think they only use Swift for the iOS, configuration, whatever you want to call it. C++, dude, I do not know what the C++ thing is. Needed for Zig to build to be happy. That's funny. Yeah, so I don't know why they have CPP. But anyways, so all of that's to say, Zig is like this very prominent language coming up, right? And if we go to GitHub stars, let's actually compare this. GitHub.com, Zig. Ziglang like Zig. Okay. Let's go here. Ziglang / Zig. Let's pop this open. Okay. And then let's pop it open with some other ones. Like, what is it? Golang, GitHub, Golang / Go. All right. Golang / Go. Okay. And then what's another like open source? No, not Java. C++. I don't even like C. Why would I want more? Increment that bad boy. What's another like Rust? We could do Rust. Yeah, Zig and Rust will be pretty similar. And Odin. Odin would be good. Although I think Odin is way too new. I think Odin only released in 2020. So Rust-lang / Rust. Okay, so Rust-lang / Rust. You can see here, like obviously Rust and Go are going to be more popular than Zig. I think just more companies, more product, more developers are using it. They've also been around longer, right? Cool. Oops, wrong chat. wrong chat. And I guess we can go to Odin, GitHub. Odin -lang / Odin. There you go. I mean, Odin's not even like on the map right now. Wait, did I spell it right? Oding? I spelled it wrong. Hold up. Oh, no way did I just do that. Oh my god, dude. That's actually... What? Did I hit a limit? Did I hit a limit? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, dude. Yo, thank you, Anonymous, for gifting Oding. I can't believe I just goofed that so bad. That's actually like a slip. That's actually a massive slip. That's so like rookie shit. Whatever. And hope they don't track IP. Okay. Oh, they do. Oh, that's so stupid. Okay, whatever. Either way, where I was going with this is Zig is kind of emerging as like a very, very popular language, right? Very popular. Time for new IP. I had MATLAB classes for my degree. I want to kill myself. Yeah, I've been there, dude. MATLAB is not great. The problem with MATLAB is it won't make you fall in love with programming. That's the issue with MATLAB. Okay, so Zig has been like getting a lot of popularity. 36.5 thousand stars in a very like the thing that's most impressive about Zig that not a lot of people talk about is how adopted it is with such a limited ecosystem. Okay? And I say that as a way not to like dig on Zig at all, right? But when we compare, it's not unfair to compare popularities with Zig and Go and Rust because like the Go and Rust ecosystem community just has more tooling for people to use, right? And so the reason for Zig's success is because very, very smart people are choosing to adopt it because it allows them to like squeeze out optimization that wasn't available to them. So this is all leading me to the point of Mitchell Hashimoto. And one more thing. So Mitchell Hashimoto and Jared, they're both very, very like smart programmers. They're like, I'm not gonna say generational, but they're very, very like they're code geniuses. I think it's safe to say they're code geniuses. Okay. Yo, what's up, Julie Lane? Looks like I'm living under a rock. I have not heard of Zig before. What's up, first time chatter, Julie Jane? Welcome in. You've never heard of Zig? Yeah, check it out. Let me drop this link for you. Yo, what's up, Tom Riddle? What's going on? You can do max 3. That's so. Wait, did you hit? Oh, dude, I love you, Cal, bro. Big shout out to you, homie. Big shout out to you, Cal. Seriously, give me that pow, bro. Appreciate that follow. If you're not following me, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave the stream. The stream's only for the real ones, and if you don't click that follow, you're not a real one. So GTFO, please, 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 no disrespect, okay? But you gotta click that follow button to enjoy this content. It ain't free. I have to pay for my dachshunds, okay? Anyways, you look at Zig, you look at Odin, you look at Rust. Rust is gonna beat it. Rust is absolutely going to demolish this, right? Like Rust popular adoption is second to none right now. For backend languages, Rust is probably like number 1 or 2. It's A-B with Go, all right? Go and Rust are like the A-B, all right? Look at the curve behind the Khmer. I don't even know what a Khmer is, brother. Okay, so if you have these like languages, right? Go, Rust. Oh, my fat face is blocking it? True. Okay. So if you have like these languages, and then you have something like Zig or even Odin emerging as an optimal way to write low-level programming, it's just a good sign. And another very healthy sign is when you talk about Bun and Ghosty, 2 very popular applications. If you look at Bun, it has 75.3 thousand stars. Ghosty was just publicly available like in December, 23.9 thousand stars. Yo, shout out Thorsten Ball. He's right there. He's a contributor. So there's lots of different things happening with applications that use Zig, all right? And if we kind of take this one step further and ask ourselves, why is this happening? There was actually a podcast with the Primogen and Teach, the Top Shelf podcast, that had Mitchell Hashimoto, he's right here, on kind of discussing why did he choose Zig, you know? How to get started. So there's a bunch of parts I want to talk about, right? Like there's how it started, Zig versus Rust, I think is also an interesting point, and then Go's place in the stack. This one is probably going to be most relevant, where I can give the most of my opinion. It's like a 2-minute clip of Mitchell Hashimoto discussing how he views Go right now. And before we even go deeper into it, Mitchell Hashimoto Golang, for those who don't know, Mitchell Hashimoto was like a huge gopher, like pretty big. He wrote a lot of Go code. He actually did talks at GopherCon talking about Go and testing in Go, right? So there's GopherCon Denver, and then here's HashiCorp, right? HashiCorp was made by Mitchell Hashimoto, and even here, like in this main thing, right? He says it's the primary language for roughly the last 5 years of his life. So there he is. You can see like there's no spoofing. There's Mitchell Hashimoto. The guy only has one type of haircut. And so the thing is like he talks about like different testing parameters in Go, which I think are really relevant, and you know, table testing is a very good way to do things. But here's the thing, it's like, so why did he switch to Go? Or why did he switch to Zig? What happened? Let's pause the music here for a second. I have not read through the Zig website, but I still don't understand why I should care for it. They don't make a good job explaining what it brings to the table. Wait, no shot. I legit used Resume AI to create my resume last year. Did you actually? Wait, you used Resume AI to make your resume? Like this thing? You use this thing? Yeah, this is the app I built. Did you not know that? Anyway, okay, I mean, that's cool. Well, for me, Go is better than C. Go is better than C? No, I didn't know you then. Oh, cool. Yeah, I built Resu AI. Yeah, hopefully you enjoy it, dude. I think Resu AI has been getting like quite a few visits lately. Let me see if I can share this tech. Oh, whoops, hold on. Yeah. Yeah, it's popping off a little bit. Like, you can see some of the apps I have. These are the 4 main ones I like to own. Astro Station is like 400 daily visitors. PFG Labs is like 83. Resu AI is like 112. And Tech Rolls IO is like 50. So yeah, I mean, cool. Back in my day, Melky did, yeah. Girl versus C is like Apple Steak. You can, but no one would say, yeah, exactly. Like, I wouldn't say go and do you get ref from me on PFG? Do I get a ref from you? What do you mean ref? Like a reference? You hooked it up big time when you added PFG Labs to Coolify Doc, dude. You know I love you from that. Yeah, oh, dude, I think we do. Genuinely. Some of these look sus. Some of these do look sus. I have to look it out, but leak incoming, chill, chill, chill. No leak, no leak. I cannot do 3 leaks in a row. Baidu China, that little sussy, but whatever. Anyways, going back into this conversation of Zig. So the creator, Mitchell Hashimoto, talks about it. And so one thing that was puzzling me is like, why is such a brilliant engineer? Why did he switch from Go to Zig? Being a person who's such a gopher, being a person who like helped create tools for the community and the ecosystem, why did he switch to Zig? And so I thought this conversation between the Prime, TJ, and Mitchell Hashimoto very enlightening and very like, I don't know. I thought it was interesting to think about his perspective on this. So I'm gonna play this. Let me know if you guys can hear this. W in chat in both YouTube and Twitch. Can you guys hear this?
I'm on thus far.
Yeah. It's in terms of calendar time, it does seem insane because it's probably like 2 to 3 years. But in
can you guys hear this? W in chat. You got some W? Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's just skip like how it got started. Let's go like right here.
72 hours has been since Ghosty's been released. Has been how many people have praised how easy it is to compile Ghosty.
Ghost is super easy,
and that's
by the link.
That's
someone can link Ghost. That'd be great.
That's really thanks to the Zig project, and so like I think that people are benefiting from that immediately. The other elements of speed and being able to control what I'm doing and things like that. I mean,
there's Ghosty.org. Check it out.
To people, but yeah.
Yeah, I think my very little experience with the Ghosty code base, which was fixing.
I think that's not necessarily true. This is pre-watched. So between Zig and Rust, I did not watch that part. I thought his perspective on why he chose Zig over Go was super cool. And I want to get into that, right? Like the whole... And so look how fucking genius I am. So I planned this stream. And I even planned this, right? What is the most controversial take on Go? So before I kind of go ADHD and lose track of focus... I want to drop this little fart biscuit for you guys, okay? I want to whop this in your direction for a little bit before we kind of continue on for Mitchell's perspective.
Off by 1 error somewhere at some point in the past.
A rounding error.
Yeah, rounding error. It was off by 1 by round. And that alone was like just going from the config into Zig and then navigating around. It felt like a project I could go pretty fast on really quickly. Zig is a very interesting choice. How did you land on Zig and not Rust?
Smart.
Especially
What's
2
up,
years
Trash?
ago. Rust was most certainly, it felt like it was at its peak kind of fervent behavior. So why did you choose Zig over Rust?
So interesting question. Why choose Zig over Rust? It's the same question. Like, okay, so I don't know how relevant Zig over Rust is, in particular to Mitchell Hashimoto, just because I don't know how like I don't know what Mitchell's his experiences with Rust. The reason why I say that is because I alluded to earlier, Hashimoto is and was like a huge gopher, right? So me personally, it's not my podcast. I think a more relevant question, like why'd you choose Zig over Go, right? But it's still interesting to understand why Zig over Rust before we kind of get into the Zig over Go. I feel like New Year really the New Year really started because you back on Twitch cooking. Oh, do you like? Yeah, I'm back on Twitch. I'm back on Twitch, back on YouTube. You know, just a more healthier mindset, I guess. Different setup. Doesn't really matter. Depression always comes in, boys. Yo, kid. Actually, maybe not, because my testosterone's been crazy lately. Been increasing that shit. But let's go.
I think I'd rather answer.
Which I can talk about if you want to. That's a whole different topic that I'm super passionate about lately. It's like health and tea and like helping young men, you know, try to be the best of themselves. That's a whole different conversation. Okay. But for now, let's continue on this.
Pineapple on pizza question. No, I'm just kidding. I think I'd rather answer the pineapple on pizza question. No, I'm just kidding.
So why
We can get
pineapple
there.
on
We can
pizza?
still get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get them both. How does that sound?
Okay, my answer to this makes everyone mad because
Okay.
You already chose Zig.
Because-
I'm happy, so don't worry.
yeah,
You already chose Zig, so I'm happy. Like Prime has been running Zig for years. Like what?
because technology, like programmers, and especially programmers that care about programming languages, like they want an answer that's like based in some sort of like theory or safety or like something. And my answer,
Grechka is fire.
like dead to right, my answer is just I have fun writing Zig and I do not have fun reading or writing Rust. And that was
That's such a crazy take. Like, yo, Solanius, thank you for the follow. That is actually pretty crazy. That is actually pretty crazy. Like, for him to say that Zig, Prime was writing Go on stream last week. Yeah, dude, I know. Like, he's written Zig, but to the point where he could say like, oh, you know, like you should. I don't know. I think that was like kind of inserted. Doesn't really. Who gives a shit, right? The thing is, for me, it's pretty fun from like an outside perspective, and like I'm gonna admit, I don't have experience with Zig or Rust. Okay, I've experienced writing Go. I enjoy writing Go. I've enjoyed it for the last like 4 years. The thing is, when you look at the syntax for Zig and you look at the syntax for Rust, coming from a person who's written Go, both of them are going to be more intricate in a way that is going to be a lot more like detailed and things that you have to like, kind of pay attention to, right? But even from the outside perspective, when I look at Zig and I look at Rust, I will always say Rust is easier to read than Zig. Okay. I think it's a good point that you should not hate reading the code due to syntax, especially when you tend to work on code together with others. I actually think, I mean, honestly, I kind of disagree. I think not hating the syntax of the language you write is actually pretty important. Like, if you hate what you write and don't understand it and you're like, fuck, this doesn't make sense, like, that's not going to be a good time writing it. You know what I mean? Like, when I write, that's the reason why I don't like TypeScript. Like, when I write TypeScript, I can understand the syntax, I can, like, get it, but it just looks like garbage. I don't like the way TypeScript syntax works. I don't like, the casting. I don't like any of that stuff. It just looks like ass. From a syntax perspective, I literally enjoy JavaScript way more than TypeScript. I think especially advanced TypeScript, it looks like Fugazi. Can you elaborate what you mean easier to read? By whom? Language experts? People who don't know language at all? No, by me. This is my opinion. Right, because I will say people have different perspectives on so this is all my opinion. I can't say like in general Zig is easier to read than Rust or vice versa. But from my perspective, as someone who hasn't really dealt with many low-level languages or been experienced in like a lot of memory management and that stuff, coming from Go, like reading Rust is much easier than reading Zig. Let's have an example. Like, okay, we might have to chat GPT this. Zig errors be like, let's see. Windows. Yeah, this looks pretty ugly. Like, this definitely doesn't look nice. And I know Rust errors are much nicer. Like, the compiler's actually really good in Rust. Windows, yeah, I mean, Windows is pretty cringe. But can someone share like any Zig syntax? Like, let's Zig syntax versus Rust syntax. Let's do a quick little search here. Zig or Rust, Zig or bust. Is there like maybe this LogRocket? LogRocket would probably be good. Okay, is there any actual code? Okay, here we go. So here's a simple example of how Zig memory allocator pattern works. Okay, so you look at this. This is actually not too bad. You have the allocator. This void. I forget what this does in this function, but I think it represents that this function does not will return something, and like it doesn't return anything. I might be wrong in that. Again, like I'm not the most Zig guy. And then you look at the memory management in Rust. Function main, mutable vec. Okay, push a value to the vector. Interesting. Means error. Interesting. Okay, so it should not return an error. And then you see, let's see, Zig versus Rust performance. Zig Rust. I mean, they look pretty similar, man. That means error or nothing. Yeah, okay. Let's get back to the interview. For me, again, maybe you forget what I said. Very small example. Let's see, the Primeagen. What's this? So ZigD structure. So this is Zig syntax. Okay, so what? You have a function Zig. I do like the testing pattern in Zig. I think it's pretty unique. Okay. This doesn't look too bad. But I don't know if this is like really pushing the limit on Zig. You know what I mean? Like it seems like he's just creating like what? A heap or something? Oh, a stack. Yeah, so he's just creating his own stack data structure with the push, new, and pop methods. Like I wouldn't really say that's like, you know, the craziest thing you can implement with Zig to showcase the abilities of it. But you're finishing my Go course? Hell yeah, dude. I think Go is still gonna be relevant. You don't like the title is there's something often overlooked in my honest opinion. It's also important how many special characters a language uses. For example, I have a German keyboard, and many characters are not as easy to type as an English keyboard. So a language which makes me type a ton of special characters can be more annoying than others. That's a valid point. That makes sense. Why not go check out Ghosty source code? That's a great point. That is like a very good point, actually. Like, we could just check out Ghosty. Let's go into SRC. I don't know. Let's go into the renderer. I mean, dude, it's just looking at like void for me. I don't really I can't understand this to the fullest. But anyways, his point was he enjoys Rust more than Zig. But let's continue.
Motivating factors, like if I'm gonna type and read and debug this stuff every single day, like I want to have fun. And
Agreed.
Whenever I've experienced reading or writing Rust, it feels like all I'm doing is implementing traits and jumping between files, trying to figure out what the fuck implements a trait. And I do not
similar
have
to Go
fun
kind
doing
of
that. And so, yeah.
Dude, that is such a good and traits have always been the most bizarre thing because you're like dot read. I know it reads. Okay, what is the thing I need to do to get it so it can read? Like the whole trait inclusion finding.
It's similar to Go with like interfaces, right? Even though traits and interfaces are innately different, like there's a similar pattern there. And we need to look at like what is this implementing, and you go into just a bare bone interface, and you're like, oh, okay. Like I get the method signature, but what's actually happening here,
Yeah,
or what is actually implementing this interface?
You know, you're like on SourceGraph, which I know TJ I think used to work there. You're on SourceGraph and you right click read and you say jump to definition. And it's like here's 30, and I'm like, no, fuck off. What is this? What is this doing? Like what's actually happening? Like I don't want to read 30 implementation to read. I don't want to go upstream to figure out which trait got created and passed in at this point. Like it's so frustrating, and so. Yeah, that drives me crazy.
So I know we're supposed to ask you a bunch of other questions that are going to be more like interpersonal about open source and all that, but I do want one
Drinking
more.
LaCroix, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Did I
What
mute it?
about the like lack of interfaces in
Yo, SX, thank you for the subscription, man. Appreciate that.
Zig? Has that been any sort of hurdle? Because when I first,
was that question?
what about the like lack of interfaces in Zig? Has that been any
Lack
sort
of
hurdle?
interface in
'Cause when I
Zig.
first
I mean, I think his previous answer kind of alludes to like he's not a big fan of. I mean, traits and interface are different, so I don't really want to say like it's a 1-to-1, but I could see it being a pretty similar answer.
started Zig, I was just fresh off my I'm going to learn Go for 1 year and really try to understand Go. And so obviously my mentality going into it was completely wrong for Zig. And so I found that to be a very jarring experience.
Yeah, so I came to Zig from writing Go for a decade, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And so interfaces were the first thing I looked for, which is ironic given my current trait rant. But
Thank you. I was fucking right. Like, I knew it. Like, if he just went on a bit of a rant about traits, it's gonna be the same thing with interface. Like, I know they're innately different, but behaviorally and structurally, they are the same when it comes to like a person using them, kind of.
I think there's slightly separate problems. But I was looking straight for interfaces, realized they didn't exist, spent like a week watching every Zig talk anyone ever gave on interfaces, and dynamic dispatch and vtables and all this crap, trying to figure out how I'm ever going to do this, and thinking that it's a huge glaring hole in the language. And then I think what ends up happening is I never, even though over a decade ago I did write C like professionally, I got paid to write C at some point in time in my life.
Interesting.
Even though that's true, I sort of forgot about that all through the Go years. And it was only after this week and then continuing to work on Zig that I realized, wait, you don't always need an interface.
Mm-hmm.
There's an overhead to using interfaces.
Yep.
They're not free. They're not free on the computer. They're not free in caches. They're not free in a variety of reasons. And then I realized that Zig's comp time makes static dispatch via like comp time interfaces possible, and that's actually what I wanted. Like, I didn't actually most of the time ever want a runtime interface, like a component that I could switch at runtime. I wanted something that just switched at compile time, and so I just realized Zig's really good for that. And
Interesting take.
I got over it. I literally never ever miss interfaces. I don't think in the Ghosty project there's a single vtable based dynamic dispatch component in the entire thing, not because I'm avoiding it, just because I don't need it. And so yeah, it's
okay. So that was kind of the perspective of like why he chose Zig over Rust, which again, don't really have too much information, can't really talk too much about that. The next part is the most relevant. The next part where he talks about why he chose Zig over Go, and what he thinks about Go in the future. Like, where does he think Go is? Where do you think it's going to be used? How is it going to be used? And why it's going to be used in the future? Which again, I watch all these to kind of build this, context for you guys, right? Like, this guy, very smart programmer, used to be a big Go gopher, created a very successful company, switched all of a sudden into creating a terminal emulator using Zig. Has some reasons why he doesn't use Rust. Hold on, we got a question. What's up, dude? What's up, John? John Lean, what's going on, dude? I have a question about your opinion on Go. I write C# professionally, and I've heard people talk about generics being a bad idea. How does not having generics make things better? It's interesting you say that, because Mitchell Hashimoto actually talks about this in a second. I actually also made a tweet, which I also kind of linked earlier, where I asked people, like, what is everyone's controversial take on Go? If you guys want to contribute into this chat, go ahead and do it. But here, my opinion is, like, I don't think generics and iterators should have been included into the language. And I just think, like, without I don't think generic solves that many problems. Like, I don't necessarily believe that generics has a lot of use case for functions. Like, I don't know. I'm not the most well-versed with generics, but I've never had a problem where I'm like, a generic necessarily solves this, or like I need to implement a generic to solve this function signature, right? Like, for me, I think not using generics is fine, and you're gonna get just as far without generics as you would with generics. But it's funny you bring that up, because
yeah, that's sort of in stark contrast to how you're feeling about Rust, and also how people generally write Rust, I feel like, with traits and everything. Do you think like, would you write? So you've written a lot of Go. I know that. Do you think you'd write Go differently now, like after writing so much Zig?
Okay, so important. Would you ever go back to writing Go? Now, another thing about this interview is Michio Hashimoto back in 2023 actually announced he's no longer be running Go. So in December 2023, Hashimoto basically announced like he's no longer wanting to write Go, and he's like archiving his Go projects, right? If I can find a Michio Hashimoto archiving Go projects. Okay. Let's see. We go here. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is in December 2023. He basically says like I'm planning on archiving 15 of my Go libraries early in 2024. I don't write Go anymore, and I no longer actively use these libraries. So like even then he was already done with Go. Hey yo, Melky, is Resu AI open source? Resu AI is not open source. If you want to kind of join, oh yeah, I forget. Like this thing always breaks. Hold on, give me a second here. Let me give you. If you want to contribute to Resu AI and work on it, join the Discord and join the channel for Resu AI. Can I not be retarded? Awesome. There you go. If you guys, and that link is open to everyone. If you guys want, join a Discord. Let's try to get to 5,000 members. I don't know how many members we have right now. I'm not gonna look because I'm probably gonna leak something. But yeah, let's get to 5,000 members. I think we're at like 4 something, which is great. But yeah, join in. Okay, yeah, then add into the Resu AI channel. It's fascinating because the whole OP C# ecosystem I'm using it so much, but I never use it myself to solve anything. Yeah, that's kind of where I think with generics. Like I've yet to face a problem like, oh, this is solved with generics. Like I never really put myself in those positions. So yeah, again, back to this. Like at that point, Michio Hashimoto had already stopped writing Go, and this is because I think he even said like writing Ghosty in Zig was like a 2-year endeavor from start to finish. So thank you for that follow.
Or do you feel like, oh, Go is designed around this interface idea, so I would keep writing interfaces?
Man, I've never thought about that.
I think TJ has a great point. Like Go is designed around interface. Like that's one of the core design patterns of Go. Like there isn't really like you can not use interface, but the intent and the design patterns of Go by the initial creators and designers was to be a very interface focused programming language.
I don't think I could write Go again right now.
I don't understand why that was so funny.
But I assume Zig would just not be that great. Like if you
like, I don't understand why that was so funny. Like genuinely, I don't understand why that was such a like laugh out loud moment. I don't know if I'm getting like in my feels because I wrote Go a lot and like I don't feel offended by it at all. I just don't see why it's so funny. Like I don't know. It's kind of like if you ask me, would I ever write Python backends again? No, I'd write Go. But I think it's still a pretty interesting take, right?
you had to write a server, I would assume you'd much rather
like
reach
Prime's
for
question
Go
here.
than reach for Zig, just because of like the highly asynchronous nature, and Zig isn't necessarily fun making a bunch of calls and aligning
like,
stuff.
Maybe I'm like
Mentally
ill or something, but I think I would just use like PHP or something. Like I don't know. I'm questioning everything about Go's place in the stack because
Yeah. So the PHP thing, I don't really pay too much attention to it. Like I've always said PHP is a great language. The part that actually interests me right now is where he says he questions Go's position in the tech stack.
like PHP or something. Like I don't know. I'm questioning every
These guys are such tech creators, bro. Like hating on Go, cheering for PHP. Like
everything about Go's place in the stack because I'm like on one hand you have Rust and
Yep.
things like Zig for the actual like performance critical like core components and that could expose C APIs and things like that.
Agreed. The garbage collector, like if anyone ever argues about Rust and or Go or Zig and Go about performance, like the answer is pretty obvious. Hold on one sec. The answer is pretty obvious. It's like the garbage collector in Go will always limit how performant it is. Like that's it. Like no matter how, yo, what's up, Anthony? Good to see you, brother. We love you, man. No matter how well your Go code is written, the garbage collector is always going to be a position where if someone knows how to allocate the memory effectively, they're going to do a better job of that. All right. And they're going to do it more effectively, which in turn may actually squeeze out more performance from the actual code that they're writing, which is why Zig is so highly used now, because it exposes so much more of these opportunities for developers to go and allocate memory how they want and free up the memory how they want. Right.
And you could guarantee safety on the Rust side, things like that. And then you have this move fast and break things web thing where I'm like, do you just want PHP or Rails or something? Like, I don't know. I love Go, the community and things like that. But yeah, I'm in a weird place with it right now.
Wait, what? Hold on. Mi Amigo. Yo, thank you for that follow. Mi Amigo, I admire your vibe so much when you get defensive about Go, as well as when you expose Intermate Coder. You probably don't even need that much performance anyway, since most don't even have users. That is the best take. However, like, this is why I started this. Maybe it came late, but this is why I started this rant of actually showing Ghosty and Bun, where the actual value of these two things isn't that they're new, right? Like, Bun isn't like the only new JavaScript runtime, right? Ghosty isn't the only terminal emulator. So the problem they solved isn't being new. The problem they solved is being extremely fast and snappy and quick. And the reason why that is so important is because that's a trend in tech right now. People want things that are fast, quick, and snappy. Like, that's like the sexy thing. It used to be like these nice flashy UIs and, fucking bezels. Now it's all about like how fast something. How quick is it? How snappy does it feel? Right? And some people are actually willing to have buggier experiences as long as the 99% of using that software is still snappy and quick. Okay. And the whole defense, like, I would agree for the majority. Yeah. Like, no one's going to have a lot of users. It's going to make a difference for these particular products. That's their market fit. That's where they're going to separate themselves from other terminals that already exist, that already have a lot of users, right? Like Kitty or just i2 or whatever. Like, how do you beat things that have been around for so long? You have to introduce something differently about them. And the way they're optimizing is by speed and performance. So for Ghosty's case, Zig is absolutely the right answer. I don't really get defensive about Go. Like, I know people like, oh, you're the Go developer. You're a Go developer. Like, I like Go. But I'm not going to be like, anyone who uses Go is a piece of shit, or anyone who offends Go offends me. Like, it's not that serious. Intermate Coder is just a scammer. So I'm going to call this guy. I'm going to call anyone who's a scammer or a sellout, right? Which there's a lot of them. But yeah, Intermate Coder is just like a scammer. Zig is too new for enterprise world yet, but I think what Bun and Ghost are doing is actually introducing that. T3 chat is extremely fast. I think that's T3 chat. The thing it's solving is not being natively new. T3 chat, if you strip everything, it's like a UI that serves model inferences of LLMs. That exists. Like, there's already Perplexity. There's always a bunch of these. What they did was they took the Ghosty approach for terminal emulators. They knew there's a bunch of them already exist, right? But let's make it the fastest. And that's the problem they're solving. That's how they're already picking up market share, okay? Extract, let's see what your comment here is. He's kind of right, though. For the stuff he mainly works on, Go ain't the most productive or the most performant. It's perfectly in between. Yes, I agree. 100%, which is why I think it makes sense, right? What do you think about 100 Go Mistakes book? I think it's good. I think it's a solid book. Okay. The influencer sphere. Yeah. Am I in the influencer sphere? I think by default I am. I don't want to be, but.
I love that not only did you just kind of just wreck Go there for a quick second, you also conspicuously left JavaScript out of the list of dynamic languages. Like, there's so many good things with this entire rant that just went on.
Yeah.
That awkward silence.
That is really
heavy.
interesting. I share some similar feelings with Go, where in some ways it feels like, I don't know, I don't get the same feelings of joy like writing Go as I do other languages, but like, it's okay for working with other people. I don't know. I'm
Fair.
in a similar headspace with Go, trying to figure out what my thoughts are on the language.
Yeah, I was always a very vocal. Well, I was like very into Go and writing Go all the time. I was always a vocal, anti. I don't know what the right word is. I was always against generics.
There you go. Bang. Okay, so this is where I get vertical. The generics topic.
Headspace with Go, trying to figure out what my thoughts are.
This is where I really want to hone in on, and this is like one of the reasons. So Hashimoto, up until now, his main reason for not using Go in terms of just the scope of this podcast is because he wanted to be more performant for Zig, for Gosi, which makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. But now he actually dives into the reason of why he initially stopped using Go.
Are on the language.
Yeah, I was always a very vocal. Well, I was like very into Go and writing Go all the time.
Right, I was always into Go writing all the time. We've already discovered that, right? Big gopher.
Anti. I don't know what the right word is. I was always against generics.
Yep.
And people took that in the craziest ways, like that I never didn't understand generics, that whatever. And it wasn't that. It was just like I guess like more generally, I hate this sort of this pattern that has emerged with programming languages where people want every feature that every other programming language has in their programming language they're using. And I think what makes programming languages special is sort of the constraints and designs they impose on you. And
which makes them different and unique.
Go to me was great because it forced you to think how to do things without generics. And for the 1% of the time generics were the right answer, it was annoying. But for the 99% of the time, I think it made me write better software. And so
not using generics 99% of the time, he believes made him write better software.
Yeah, it's sort of is and isn't like a coincidence that I stopped writing Go right when they shipped generics.
There you go. Okay, so that's where I want to hone in on. It's not a coincidence that he stopped writing Go right around the time they shipped generics. Okay, now why does that matter? So Go generics release. So in Go 1.18, it seems like they've actually the full release of generics, and I think in Go 1.16 they had the experimental release of generics. Okay, and so for me, I don't like the syntax of generics. Where is it? Do we have an example? Like here. Where is it? Right here, okay? Or if you want the perfect programming language for you, you have to make it yourself and someone else will hate it. Facts. Let's see. Let's just type in Go. Like I don't even familiar with generics in Go. I've never used them. Okay, let's see. Some types, some floats. Yep, float 64. Here, there you go. Following the generic function. I think this is very ugly. Okay, and my problem with Golang iterators was actually very similar. In Go 123, yeah, like it follows a very similar pattern where I think the syntax is like not right. It's not what I think of Go. I don't like it. It just looks strange, and it's something I personally don't enjoy. Like this is definitely not good. This, no matter where you're from, like to iterate and to write this is disgusting. I've talked about this before. Funk. And obviously you can clean this up a little bit, but this is like 5 functions. And you're kind of like, okay, so there's like, what am I doing here? Okay, so this function signature is gonna, it's gonna yield a function. Okay, there it is. It's gonna return. So it's like the best way I can talk, it's like very clunky. It looks, whenever I thought about Go, and whenever I think of Go, I really think like smooth, easy to write software, easy to write code. The use of iterators and generics, for me, feels like it's like a introduction of something rigid. It feels like it's not as smooth, not as buttery as what it once was. And for me personally, that is still one of the biggest turnoffs. And I personally think, to be very extreme and very dramatic, could be a downfall of the language. Now, I don't think it's a big deal because it's like an opt-in, like you can use it if not, whatever, right? Like it's good to kind of have in a toolbox. But the main point that Hashimoto says is programming languages adopting features from other programming languages just so they can have them. And that's really like the big issue, right? Go was not created with generics, and then all of a sudden they shoehorn generics because, like, you know, other programming languages had them. And it's like, you know, is that really what we wanted to achieve here? And I think it's kind of the same thing with iterators, right? Like
that it was going to change the culture in a way that, and not just the culture, it's going to change the code I had to read in a way that I wasn't going to have fun anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's true because I haven't professionally written Go since they've made that change. But in the few projects that have been Go that I've been trying to figure something out, I read and I see generics now. Yeah, my eyes kind of glaze over, being like, oh, this isn't very fun anymore.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I love so much about Lua, right? Is like Lua is definitely a language designed by the constraints that it has, right? About like easy portability.
Okay, but one-based indexing was unequivocally a mistake.
Unequivocally, absolutely.
The most based indexing, it's one. One is right. Okay, hear me out.
Brazilian elevator started.
Anyway, so that's the point. That's the perspective of Zig and Go. I want to share that with you guys, right? So everyone will jump on generics and overall readability of code. It smells like what happened with TypeScript. I think so. I don't really believe like generics was the reason why like people don't like Go, right? Like, I'm not gonna say that. What I do think is Go adopting a design pattern from a programming language just to kind of do it seems to be an anti-pattern. Yo, what's up, Mick Door? Thank you for a follow. I was actually switched back to music because I like just talking in silence makes me kind of depressed. Okay, the main point is what Hashimoto said, right? Hashimoto and even and Tej, what they said was a programming language should be used and kind of designed around its constraints, right? That's kind of what gives a language its, you know, quote unquote uniqueness, right? Uniqueness, but I think a better word is like its use case. Or use case, right? Like when it comes to the question of asking, well, what language would you use to write a backend server? And Hashimoto's like, well, at this point, I'd use PHP, right? Like you have to ask yourself, like, why PHP, right? Why not like Ruby on Rails? Why Go, right? Why Rust? Like when you ask yourself these questions, the answer majority of the time should be the constraint that the language was developed around because it gives it more of a niche, right? Of a niche and use case, right? Whereas if you have a language like, in my opinion, TypeScript, one of the downfalls, in my opinion, of TypeScript is kind of like the everything language, okay? And I think this idea is kind of switching. I think a lot of apps are kind of like, you know what, it actually makes sense to be the everything, you know, app, everything language, everything whatever. But at the same time, like, I think having a language that's just like optimally designed to achieve certain things or it's constrained by certain things makes it more appealing to engineers and programmers, right? For example, like the everything language, is that a good thing? Or we have like Python, right? Like Python is fine to use as a backend language, okay? But like it's optimally created. It's optimal right now for machine learning, okay? And that's because of like its ecosystem and different parameters around that. But regardless, like if anyone asks you like which language you're going to use to like deploy, train a model, and they use TypeScript, and you're like, why not Python? Right? Like that's the kind of questions and conversation I think we should have when discussing programming languages. DSL, yeah. No mapper filter. Yep, true. Goes into 2 years. Yeah, that problem with Rust and Zig. That's actually a good point, Anthony. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of like other complicated features that go into Rust or that went to Ghosty that took a lot of time to create. The Insane Troll, thank you for that follow, brother. But like obviously, like yeah, when you write Zig and Rust, it's gonna take you a longer time to implement something. I think that's just like how it goes. Theodore MSL Engine Next.js hosted Vercel. I don't think he would. That would be disgusting. Okay. Let's exit a bunch of these things. Zig, Rezo AI, Zig, Zustand, Star History, Jatai, AstroStation.me. Okay. Yeah, so that kind of got me to this perspective, like why I didn't want to use, go over Zig. Yeah, we were just talking about that. I don't know. Are you kind of, did you just tune in? Like we just spent quite a bit of time talking about that. Holy shit, long time. You're looking good, brother. How are you keeping up? All good? Yeah, yo, dude, Papa Owl, are you still on Discord? Because I was actually meaning to message you not too long ago, but I couldn't find you on Discord anymore, bro. I was gonna ask you for that Rust book. You gave me an offer that you have a Rust book for me, and how freaking goes, brubs? Yo, what's up? I'm at a Chino. What's going on, homie? Yeah, Papa Owl, if you can hit me up on Discord or Twitter or whatever, I just wanted to ask you. Good to see you again, bro. Yeah, it has been a long time. Hopefully things good with you and the fam. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Appreciate that. Okay, cool. So that kind of will do it for the talk between Hashimoto choosing Go over Rust. Or, I mean, Zig over Rust and Go. Do you guys want to watch the Teach DeVries video or the most disastrous launch of all time? To make just talking streams and less coding. I mean, there's audiences for both on this, right? Like some people always message me saying, dude, like, I want you to code more. I want you to code more, right? Some people are like, oh, well, I love the way you talk and you give advice. So like, I don't know, dude. At the end of the day, do the streams that you want to do, bro. Don't do streams that like other people want you to do. Teach AI, I like it. I like it. Let's pause the music and change the title because I don't want to scam people. Well, I kind of do, but not too much, you know. I want to do a light scam. 100%. Chat when streamers start coding. This video goes hard. Goes hard in the bank. Let's go. AI risks no one is talking about. Let's change the title. Air. I'll see you later. Yeah, peace, bro. And let's change this. Can't forget about YouTube, bro. Can't forget about the YouTube. All right, let's change that. Let's save this. Let's go back to this. Swap. All right. Chat, you guys ready? W in chat if you can hear this. W in chat if you can hear this.
Let's talk about some risks of AI that I'm really not hearing anybody talk about, but seem really important to me. So
W?
For a little context, I'm not an AI doomer. I'm not like, oh, everything about AI is terrible and I hate it and I would never use it. Sure, there's a bunch of maybe ethical questions about how we got AI, but it is here. And I use AI. And I use it to help me write code and I use it for personal stuff in my life too. It's actually pretty helpful in lots of different ways, although I don't think that it can do all of my job in 5 seconds from now, but that remains to be seen. And a topic.
I think, you know, in 5 seconds now is kind of like, I don't know. I think there is an opportunity of AI replacing us. Obviously not in 5 seconds, but like definitely in 5 years, or the majority. But
topic for a different video. But just like any other technology, it's a double-edged sword. There's some good things about it, and there's some bad things about it, and or potentially bad things that maybe, you know, if we're talking about it and working on it, we can avoid having happen. So let's talk about one of those today.
So I think it's pretty interesting. Like we can avoid to happen.
You know, if we're talking about it and working on it, we can avoid having happen.
We can avoid having happen. So okay, that's pretty promising. I have not watched this video. Full transparency, I haven't watched this video. But I do think like it already sets you up that the risks that he's gonna outline here are potentially solvable, right? Which is like pretty promising.
potentially bad things that maybe, if we're talking about it and working on it, we can avoid having
I
happen.
meant to repeat that 3 times.
Let's talk about one of those today. My first sort of concern here is default answers for LLMs become
de facto
a sort of de facto
solutions?
standard. If
Okay.
you try and do make me a to-do list app, the odds are pretty good, at least on a fresh account. I tried this on Claude myself, that it's not going to do a server-side rendered thing in Rails. It's not going to make some MVC in Phoenix, even though those are clearly superior technologies. Instead, it's probably going to make you a broken React application. At least that's what happened when I tried it with Claude.
Interesting. I have a few thoughts on that. I think if you're a person going into an LLM and that's your actual prompt, it makes the most sense that the answer becomes a generic de facto solution. Actually, I actually don't see anything wrong with that. Truly, I think if you're going into an LLM and be like, hey, spit me out a to-do list app, like the expectations would be, it's going to be a React app. I wonder if you do make me a to-do list app in Rails, what would happen? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this is a good demonstration of like de facto solutions. I think if you give an LLM, a general purpose LLM, a general question like make me a to-do list app, it's going to give you the most general answer. And I think that kind of goes contextually like as expected, right? If you want to have a more specific answer, you should prompt a little bit more specifically. The fact that the React application may be broken, I think that is a fair argument. I do think a lot of the code that LLM spit out first T don't work. If you haven't seen my video where I compare Cursor and Windsurf, I asked Cursor to create a pretty reasonable application, a Go CLI, and it couldn't even get it to compile without me going in and fixing it. Okay. So I do think default answers become de facto solutions. I think it's more on the audience of who's making those prompts and what solution they want. Like if you're an intermediate coder, you're probably gonna make a pretty bust React app if that's your prompt. I do think there's a lot of intricacy in how you prompt as well.
And I guess to be fair, maybe that is the most human thing an AI could do, but this is not a talk about AGI. This is a talk about default answers becoming de facto solutions, right? So the idea here, right, is that anytime I'm using an LLM for some topic that I'm not super familiar with or where I don't want to do the work, I kind of just accept the result and it seems fine. I go to the next thing. LLM host is happy. You sent them money. Sure. Maybe not enough money to cover the 5 billion losses of OpenAI this year, but maybe someday they'll get there. My concern is what?
I feel like that was a jab. I feel like that was like a straight jab to OpenAI, but like Uber, Lyft, and all those companies are like unprofitable for the first like 7 years. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's fine that they're unprofitable right now. I think it's completely fine. I don't think that really means anything. You know, I think eventually they'll get there. Like, I'm not too concerned about that.
But if everyone is doing this, right? Do we get into this spot where we're all becoming a natural language programmer, but without any of the underlying skills required to evaluate whether those choices are actually good or just there because that's either the way they've been done or what comes out of the LLM? And so this is not exclusive to people who don't know anything about programming, although I think it's definitely going to be exacerbated by them, right?
Agreed.
They make me an app that shows like blue buttons and I want it to be about plumbing. They're just going to pick whatever the normal thing is. And maybe overall that's good, but
Of course. Right? Of course. But like, what other options do they have? If a person doesn't know programming and they give it this like black box thing, a question, it gives you a solution, what other option do you have by not taking that solution? You can go and learn programming from the ground up, from ground zero. But that's going to be a long process, right? Like that's going to be a pretty like a much longer process, right? Exploring yourself, I agree, right? But the same thing, you can say the same with the opposite, right? Like, let's say a person who doesn't know plumbing, and it asks an LLM, give me schematics for how to fix my shower. You don't know anything else. You're gonna probably accept that first answer. You can go learn the intricacies of plumbing and maybe get better, but that's going to be a long process. If you have like a leak in your sink, you kind of want an answer now if you can't afford it. Otherwise, you can. A longer process is not always equal to bad. It depends on the condition. If your leak is like causing you a bunch of money because it's going to inflate your, hardwood floor and it's just going to leak all across the process, you probably need a solution right now. There's like situations where having a solution right now is actually much better than spending time and finding the longer solution yourself. Yeah, that's like FEM for engineering. You can't rely on it when you don't know shit. Yeah.
There's still something sort of nagging at me about that. But in these kinds of scenarios where we're suggesting not really technical details, we're going to get back just whatever the default is. And the reason I know that is because if we wanted to give it all the technical details, we probably would just end up coding most of it, right? The concern is not that, LLMs will be able to like fill in the Tailwind classes to position this thing in a little box that I don't know how to do offhand.
Right.
That's not really where the future of LLMs seem to be going. So
No.
my question is,
Because why would it? I think from a business perspective, LLMs want to cater to more people, not just the people that TG just alluded to, rather not just the people that can like get like the 80% of the code and use like LLM to like, fix slots here and there. Like as a business, they want to go to like more people, give more opportunity to companies and people to use their product.
then how does any new library, language, framework gain adoption in this world where the majority maybe of the programming or the work done is just the de facto default answer of whatever comes out of an LLM, particularly in the maybe worrisome cases of where people are building entire applications without any technical knowledge of what's going on. And not just for languages and frameworks, right? I'm also wondering, how does something like a new cloud provider compete against existing cloud providers? The user might not even know that they are picking a cloud provider if they just accept the defaults, right? And so this is sort of one of the things that I feel like all of these people are saying, don't learn anything about CS. You're not going to need to know anything about it. You don't need to know about all of these different aspects of how the stack works together, how these pieces go, any technical details. The AI is just going to take all of our jobs and just do it perfectly, right? And this is, of course, from all the people in the internet who are 18 months late on 6 months till no jobs. I do think AI is going to be disruptive. Don't get me wrong. It seems a very disruptive technology to me, but that's not the same thing as it's completely useless to know things. Those are two separate.
Agreed. I definitely agree with this take 100%. It's what I was saying earlier, right? Like the situations where if you don't know anything and ask an LM, you're forced to take that answer, right? If you do not know programming and you ask a programming question, you're forced to take the answer it gives you. Same thing if you don't know plumbing and you ask a plumbing question, you're forced to take the answer. Now, I'm not saying that is how it should be. I'm not saying that, you don't need plumbers anymore because AI exists. Nor am I saying you don't need engineers or software engineers because AI exists, okay? Like situationally, it makes a lot more sense when you are knowledgeable about the field and you ask an AI LLM its suggestion, its proposal, you use your own native knowledge to see, is that viable? You tinker around with it, you make it better, okay? Obviously, if I just take the solution AI suggests on like plumbing my entire bathroom, I'm gonna fuck something up. It's probably gonna make me a bigger hole than originally existed. So I definitely agree with this take that like not learning anything is the wrong thing. At the end of the day, AI is a tool, all right? AI is 100% a tool. The thing that I think people fail to kind of talk about, and I actually think TJ fails to talk about here, is how businesses will use that tool. Specifically, I talked about this in my last video, big tech businesses. The ones that actually care about profitability over everything else. Companies that care about profitability over about the quality of code. Companies that would much rather sell billions of dollars worth of product that is written in a good enough fashion versus companies that actually dictate and focus on the quality of the code they ship. And in those cases, I made the argument in my last video where big tech companies will replace a lot of human software engineers with AI. That's been my take on kind of this whole approach. Whether that's good or bad, I obviously think that's bad, but from a business side of things, I can obviously see why they would do that. But I agree with Teach's point here. Like you don't have to not learn anything, right? Like just seeing where AI is and be like, oh, well, in 5 years, I'm not going to, what's the point of learning now if in 5 years going to be replaced? Like, A, that's not guaranteed. And B, like learning is still great, right? Like people still like you can go buy mushrooms at the grocery store, but people still learn about foraging. You know what I mean? So
problems and two separate areas to weigh about what the most effective way to deal with the disruption of AI is. And so LLMs don't seek truth. It's not as if they're out there, this ability, you know, like God's angels out here trying to find out what's good and bad, and we can consult this oracle and get back the truth from the heavens. That's not what they are. They are predictors based on their data of what the next likely things are. And that is like the most gross oversimplification of all time. I get that because they are incredible technology and letting us do things that I really was not imagining maybe even 6 months ago, let alone 5 or 10 years ago.
right.
But the attitude from the people here in this camp is we really don't need to worry about economics or incentives or reality. We can just trust the benevolent people running our LLMs. We can
That's
just
bad.
trust
That's bad.
that whatever is coming back out of the
Levels
LLM
IO is very much
going
like
to be
that. Levels
trustworthy and
IO
good.
is very
Just
much
whatever the-
like I trust AI with everything at this point. He's even tweeted about it before, and I won't like. I'm not gonna talk shit about Levels because I think he's like a brilliant person. Really, I do. But he is very much like I trust AI with everything. And then when everyone's like counterpoint, you shouldn't. They're like, well, you trust random people who run a country blindly. AI is probably a little bit better. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty interesting, but I don't know if that necessarily makes sense.
The top 15 results on Google search results are amazing and good, and no one has ever gamed those. We can just have that same exact feeling from when I ask the LLM a question and I get back a response. that's the level of trust, right, that we should be putting in the LLM. We should be inspecting them, and we need to have some
This
knowledge
takes
to
made
be
me
able to
mad.
do that. And the other thing is here, while I do think malice is going to be coming into play from some of these aspects, this really does not require any malice to happen, right? If AI is great at generating TypeScript right now, then that means there will probably be lots more TypeScript tomorrow. Which does that mean then the next most likely thing to predict or
What's up,
suggest is
Melter?
also going to be TypeScript? It doesn't actually require us to have a situation where everyone is in this conspiracy like cigar room smoking cigars and saying, let's make TypeScript the language of the future. We really want to make everyone's life miserable. It doesn't require that. It's just that sometimes systems perpetuate the same things. And that's the first risk that I'm feeling worried and I'm not seeing discussed anywhere.
I think
The
it's a good
second
take.
aspect here is
I think it's a good take. I do think there's like a little intricacies around that, especially with the prompting. Like if you're if you're just a generic dude prompting like how to make a to-do app, you're gonna accept the generic answer. Like I don't know what you're expecting. If you want a to-do app built in a specific tech stack, do it. Are you able to post links? So yeah, you can. But if it's like a link to a porn site or something like that, like you're gonna get banned insta.
this
I'm gonna
idea
call
of
you a beta.
optimizing LLMs to return particular results, just like people have spent. I cannot even fathom how much money trying to make SEO for their websites to show up in search engine results, right? We're going to have that for LLMs. And my concern is if that gets captured, what we're going to have is this LLM sort of nascent oligopoly of products, right? A new brand that is this small cabal of products that are the only things that are going to be suggested by LLMs. And that's where
course.
I'm sort of shortening this for LLM-NOP, right? That's what we've got here, LLM-NOP for short. And this can happen in a variety of ways.
Oh,
It can
your
happen in the
project? No, I'm not gonna click your project, bro.
training data. Maybe you're going to just feed it tons more Svelte data than you are React, right? And you're trying to subvert everyone's expectations and get everyone to use Svelte. Seems cool. Seems like a cool technology.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe I would vote for that one. But you could also do it in sort of what you're going to do when you're doing the training here. You can do it in the reinforcement learning where the people who are voting these up or down for whether they're good or bad or good suggestions or whether they're safe suggestions or not, those could filter out other kinds of options and make certain things more or less likely to be suggested. It could be in the prompts themselves. It could be explicitly in programming, like behind the scenes inside of OpenAI. It could be filtering out any suggestion to use Claude's API instead, or
Yep, for
X's
sure.
Grok, or how to download an open source model and run it locally on your machine. Any of those things could have biases put in that on the receiving side we are not aware of and don't know are happening. They could even be doing that explicitly in post-processing steps with the true AI, right? Registers and if statements. They could just be filtering out Claude.
Oh my
You
God.
would never know. And that reinforcement into this oligopoly is where the de facto thing becomes a much bigger worry for me. It's not so much of a worry if everyone is just getting to use React and their websites work just fine for them or whatever, right? The worry I have is that we will experience the same kind of decline that we had in Google search results inside of LLM results as the data and the training and the feedback is all poisoned by the interests of the people making those LLMs. Right?
Didn't Google
if there's
already do that,
1,000
though?
X resources about React, how likely is it to suggest Velp, right? Or if there's 1,000 X resources
Didn't
about
Google already
using
do that
Azure,
with, like,
why would it
buying
suggest
search results
using
and like when you search
GCP?
something and like it will just give it the one
And this
that
leads into that idea of this vertical integration that I see definitely happening, right? It doesn't require a lot of imagination to get here, where you could say, I'm inside of VS Code, right? And I'm inside of there, and I say, hey, deploy this to cloud, right? A naive user with a credit card. And so what happens? They say, sweet, let's pull in the Azure library. We'll install that for you automatically. When you click the little green button, that'll deploy in your
Azure.
GitHub Enterprise account, and then we'll deploy that to Azure. You probably need a 4 times the size thing that you actually need to make sure that we're charging that. And
Yep.
you can just see how this decision of the natural language thing, especially with no underlying understanding, can lead
Yep.
to a complete capture of the stack. You could
Agreed.
be in a Microsoft editor using a Microsoft language, doing Microsoft tooling with a
Agreed.
Microsoft Code Assist,
Agreed.
using a chat application built by Microsoft to deploy to Microsoft's cloud on your
It's
Microsoft
business,
GitHub
though,
provider.
dude. That's business. Like, of course. Like, I agree with him 100%. 100%. Okay? Like, everything TJ said, I agree. Like, it's obviously going to be not transparent. If you're Microsoft and you have VS Code and you know you have all these people using VS Code and you have a built-in LLM, why in any instance would you suggest to use AWS over Azure if not explicitly prompted? From a business side of things, that makes absolute sense. If I'm the CEO of Microsoft and I'm like, well, okay, you have the option of like pushing our product, which makes us get more money, or pushing like a product that might be better than us objectively, but we won't get money. And it's like, and that's just the nature of it, right? So I think that's more like business. But I do see like once a company like OpenAI that has like a tie to Microsoft, that can happen. Tej raises a very good point. Very good point. Like imagine getting an ad slot on ChatGPT, right? Imagine the cloud wars between Azure, AWS, GCP, whoever, and be like, hey, can we be the first answer that your LLM gives? And OpenAI's like, yeah, you just pay us like $1 billion and you got that, zero index slot. So that he has such a good point here. He has a very good point. I do think it's more of a business thing though. Like business, like that's how, like the world is corrupt. The world is malice. Business is business.
Okay, I'm not even just picking on Microsoft. I think everyone wishes they could be doing this, right? Everyone wishes they could have
Yes.
that vertical integration. But
Yes.
that's one of the concerns that I really have, is that if we're just going to accept what the next likely thing is from the LLM, boom, they're going to want to capture that and get you to opt in a sense, to all of their services, right? And this is not a macapitalism moment. One of the things that is a bigger worry or a bigger risk in this area is I'm worried that some of these large LLM providers are going to actually lobby for and receive
Great answer.
a bunch of extra regulatory
Great,
capture
great,
around LLMs.
great answer.
And the local LLM running on your computer isn't safe enough to be legal. So it's no longer legal to run LLMs on your computer. Or, oh, that small upstart LLM doesn't have all the same safety features we do, or the same legal. And so then they're not allowed to run that either.
Yeah.
And so you end up with this scenario where LLMs are the de facto way of doing programming, and all of the other possible verticals that could be suggested by an LLM don't get suggested very often anymore, or at least not without prior knowledge. And then it becomes illegal to run other LLMs. So this is not a macapitalism, okay? I just want that to be clear.
I don't get the muck capitalism part, but I get the capitalism part.
I'm also quite worried about this idea of regulatory capture in the space, and I don't know how that's going to play, right? Because if you have the tool that suggests all the other tools,
Yeah.
that's a strong area that you would want to try and capture.
Of course. But what's the alternative? I do think, like, what is the alternative, right? Like if there's a company like Microsoft, let's say they create their own LLM, regulation. Yeah, but what about the cost to like train that model and do all that scraping and all like the hardware costs and all that, right? Part of the alternative is that people don't cede all their knowledge and thinking to the LLMs. Yeah, I mean, for sure. But it's a convenience thing, right? Like, idealistically, you're right. Like, people shouldn't be depending on LLMs like blindly. But I think the convenience of LLMs is outweighing a lot of this general concept of like, yeah, you still do what you want to do, right? I think the convenience LLMs offer, at least from my perspective, is pretty substantial at this point, right? Like I really, really do enjoy LLMs. Yep, exactly. OpenAI buy a nuclear plant for free, power and absolutely dominates, as in takes everyone out on the board. Yeah. I think your video is very well done. I very much enjoy your video. I agree with a lot of your takes. I do think though a lot of the takes here are very like idealistic, right? And I think like the corrupt nature of humans in business kind of like will plague that from being a reality, right? I think you shouting into the void is, I think the video does more than that. I think it will be like a little like alarm, like, maybe I can, spend more time just doing this without like prompting, right? But I think like holistically, I think it's kind of like, the way I see it's kind of like Pandora's box. I think the box has already been broken. And I go back to my experience with machine learning. I'm saying what I think are realistic concerns because people are bad. And also showing exceptions where it doesn't require them to be bad. I'm saying that I thought you were saying like that I probably didn't understand your video fully. But I think are realistic concerns because people are bad, and also showing examples where it doesn't require them to be bad. Yeah, I think the examples of them where it doesn't require them to be bad is like, I don't know, maybe I'm thinking of that's like the idealistic approach. But I think like that's the convenience and business and money is going to outweigh the examples of them shouldn't be bad, right? Yeah, and so like for me personally, I've talked about this before, but my master's is in computer vision. Like my educational master's is in computer vision, had a thesis, had a bunch of shit done, whole different world. And I talked about it before, my thesis was in CCTV tracking footages, like very like China shit. Okay. And I really didn't like that. And like I dipped the fuck out because I actually read a paper from the original author of YOLO V4, You Only Look Once. And that's why he dipped out. He created a YOLO, the darknet framework for tracking, and he actually backed out. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore because he did not like the technology he was working on. And I kind of had that same realization. So from an ethics perspective on that, I like saw that Pandora's box had already been opened by YOLO. And I'm like, I do not want to do this at all. You want a glasses show a name next to every face. Yeah, my thing was kind of like that, but it was different CCTVs, right? It's different CCTV footages, and they capture your state from one all the way to the other, all the way to the other, all the way to the other. Open again, no. I just didn't bring up really in the video. It complicates the discussion way too much for the YouTube video. Yeah, I think facial recognition is scary stuff. Yeah, it's facial recognition. Yo, what's up, Survey Games? Welcome in. Yeah, it's a lot of scary stuff out there, and I think overall the discussion of like AI risks, just overall, like I think just AI risk no one's talking about is very true. No one's talking about the risks associated with AI like whatsoever. And I think the risks TJ here highlights here are very valid. And I think they're already like, I think it's way bad. I think it's way worse. Yeah, I'll continue watching it. I think it's already like pretty plagued in here, right? I think a lot of people have adopted so much AI and LLM into their lifestyle that I think at this point, like, there's probably been like some positives, but there's also been some negatives that they are not innately aware. And I think one of the main things is like this like advertisement placement in the answer of LLMs, right? Like believing in LLM just because it is the LLM's answer and be like, this must be it. And it kind of takes away like critical thinking. Right, it takes away the being like, well, okay, why is this the answer? Not like, is this answer correct from a functional perspective, but why is this the answer that I'm getting? Right, like how did it come to this answer? And I think the first thing I kind of pushed back on your video was when you give a generic prompt of make me to-do app, you should expect a generic answer. Like, I don't find a problem. Like, that's where I disagree with in your beginning video, where you're like, make me to-do list app, and it gave you React. Like, that is, in my opinion, the right answer, right? Like that, no matter, even if LLMs are not corrupt or they don't have this underlying business model of like, kind of like, you know, giving you a answer behind the scenes that you're not even aware of, I think in a prompt like that, that is the sufficient correct answer. Generic answers deserve, generic prompts, generic questions deserve generic answers. When it gets to the concept of like, well, why was that the answer in the first place? How did it come to that? Is there any like underlying motives? That's where it's like, okay, it gets sketchy real quick, right? Ask ChatGPT to generate a picture of a clock showing time 12:02. You'll be surprised. No, that sounds scary as hell, dude. But let's continue watching this video.
And the last thing here that I really don't hear people talking about is this is like not just for programming. I mean, we're also going to have people making life decisions.
Oh, wait, hold on. Well, I think the general point, I think if you compare it to the previous alternative, you go to a consulting agency and ask them to make you to-do list app. They should ask clarifying question to get what, but yeah, but I think there's, I mean, I'm not gonna like go into details because like a consulting company could also have like be a Microsoft consulting company, right? Or a you know, Microsoft MVP consult. You know what I'm saying? So there's probably gonna be some like low guard shit there too. Like I've experienced consulting companies and where like the clear solution was to use like GCP, BigQuery, they'd be like, no, we need to use Microsoft because like we're Microsoft partners, right? So I'm not gonna like go like, you know, yeah, I'm putting details here. I'm just saying you're saying LLM should give you the generic answer, but that's an assertion that I don't necessarily agree with. I think if no, I said if you give generic questions deserve generic answers. That's where I think is my point, right? I think that's where that's where my perspective currently lies with LLMs.
Based on LLMs, they're going to ask like, hey, what kind of shoes are really good for running? And it's going to suggest a pair of shoes.
Yep. I do this too.
Wouldn't it be great if you were the top result? Hey, what's the best place to shop for healthy food?
Yep.
Wouldn't it be great if you were the top result? Hey, what's the most fun game to play to relax with my bros? Wouldn't it be fun if you were the best and top result?
Yep.
This is where I think we really need to be having some conversations about what we're going to try and do, how we're going to think about these things, and also where maybe we still are going to want to have humans in some of these loops, or maybe at least just for a while, to not let ourselves accidentally get caught up in a just feedback loop of companies training LLMs to suggest their own products, and you have this vicious loop and complete vertical integration that I'm not convinced is going to be the best for the consumer. So those are some of the risks that I would really like to hear people talk a little bit more about. Leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm going to publish a few other videos about some thoughts on AI for the rest of this month, and that is the end. One quick note at the end here is a plug for me. If you like this video, if you like me talking, hey, if AI takes all our jobs...
fucking plug? Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here, bro. This guy's like, yo, watch to the end. Watch to the end. Fucking plugs boot.dev. God damn, bro. Tech creators, man. All of them are the same. We're all the same at the end of the day. W says, man, great video, dude. Great video. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I interrupted to the end of the searches already to avoid what you're talking about. Yeah, I think it's like... I really think like not going like detail for detail, like trying to find flaws. Holistically, I think it's a great point. I think there's going to be, if not already, like LLMs are so well known now, and they're almost like the de facto like option 0, option 1 to get an answer. That now companies are like, okay, well now we know how to give answers. We have trust in the consumer. You want your answer to be number 1? Just slip me 500,000. 500,000. Yeah, we can do a little bias here, you know? We can do a little bias in the training data. Don't worry about it. We have a scientist. We have a couple, you know? If you don't want, we'll go to your competitor. That's fine with us. We're the LLMs. Having the ability to dictate what people choose to do is a very powerful thing. But with that, you know what else is powerful? Me leaving and me going... to get some food. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please join the Discord. It's a great Discord. We're hanging out there all the time. So join that, trying to get to 5,000 members. If you haven't already, check out my YouTube. Let's get to 50,000 subscribers. That'd be great. And if you haven't already, click follow, because what are you doing? If you like this stream, you've been here the whole time. It's been 2 hours. Click the follow button. You must enjoy it for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If you enjoy my voice, my takes, the videos that we're watching, the things I collected, you have to click follow. It's simple. It's obvious. I do enjoy every single one of you guys. Big shout out to everyone, all the content I watched. Big shout out to Top Shelf, TJ, Raycast, and I think that was it. I think that's all the things we covered today. So big shout out to all of them. And yeah, next time we'll be continuing off. And I hope you guys enjoy your day. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time. Peace.